The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Urban Wellness and Beauty, featuring weekly commentary on urban health, beauty, and lifestyle. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Urban Wellness
I need
and
to turn
Beauty.
it up. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right, hey everyone, it's Friday, as they say on Power 106. How they do it? It's Friday, August 15th, and I'm your host, Erica, and welcome to Urban Wellness and Beauty, where we talk about all things health, fitness, and beauty to be the best you can be and look fabulous and feel fabulous while you're doing it. So for today, we have our first topic, which is going to be Miss Madison here. And let's introduce ourselves first. So I am Erica. I'm a beauty blogger, bringing you guys tips and tricks on things for your hair, your skin, and your body. And you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, welcome back, everyone. I am Cortez West. I will be the one to talk to you to more detail about exercise and gym, fitness, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Well, I'm Madison Chase, your training to the stars and star in you, because I feel like everybody's a star and there's power in your choices. So we're going to talk about what kind of choices are best for individuals and where you are in your lifestyles.
I gotta give me a speech. This is like y'all have y'all speeches together. Let me get my intro speech together. So next week I'm gonna have me a speech for y'all.
All right, sounds good. All right, great. So today we have a hot topic. So we have Madison. You have a hot topic for us?
I do. So there is a really big deal. I don't know what people are saying, but I watched. There's a PSA about anti-obesity, and basically the program, the PSA starts with this really. Obviously, he's obese. I don't think he's morbidly obese, because morbidly obese, I think, is 300 pounds and over.
Right.
But they show him like being wheeled into an emergency room, and then they're about to either try to resuscitate him or revive him. I'm not sure which, but they're about to cut off his shirt, and then you see his mind playing back, how did he get here? And so you see him eating, his mom giving him fries, French fries from McDonald's probably. They didn't show McDonald's, but I think it was a McDonald's bag. I'm not really sure. But they show just his lifestyle and how he kind of became addicted to food. And it was all just a series of, from him being a baby, middle school, high school, birthday cakes, kind of like how we're socialized around food, birthdays, and just even kids, like fast food. So it was really interesting to watch. I wish you guys, I thought I sent it to you, but you didn't see it. So how do you feel kind of about a PSA kind of linking and blaming obesity on fast food?
So this is a campaign against obesity.
It's a campaign against obesity.
Or against the cause of obesity.
And yeah, they're kind of saying that that is the cause, is, you know, I guess consumers being advertised like McDonald's and fast food. So that's kind of the link to obesity. And that's kind of what they're saying in the PSA. And that's just my personal opinion.
And they're making fast food even more cheaper. Even more cheap, I'm sorry. So it's like, you know, I drove by McDonald's the other day and I saw the sign that says 2 hamburgers for $2. I was like, what? And they were like the 3 stacks.
Oh, wow.
Something like
and
3.
then with the soda now, soda everywhere, you get a big old soda for $1.
So I'm like, I mean, they're making it cheaper and they're trying to say that it's accessible for people who don't have much money, you know, with the way that the work, you know, how we don't have much jobs and things of that nature. But if you notice, there's a fast food on every corner. On every other corner, you can see it's a McDonald's everywhere. There's a. Like,
but it's interesting when you go into more economically. I can't hear myself anymore.
More like urban neighborhoods?
Well, urban neighborhoods, I feel like there's even more. Yeah, there's more. But when you go into nicer neighborhoods, you don't see as many fast food restaurants.
You actually see the opposite. You see the vegan places, the vegetarian places. Like I go up to Manhattan Beach sometimes to go jogging, and I mean, it's so easy to find a vegetarian spot. If you're going down to an urban neighborhood, it's the opposite. You'll see a Church's Chicken and a Popeyes right over there. But to find but to try to find alternative options that are healthier for you, you have to really go out of your way to searching from them. And I believe me, you'll probably end up in a neighborhood that's probably more like
more affluent.
Now, what I
Yeah.
will say, I don't think that it's the full cause of obesity, but I do think it played a major part because,
absolutely.
as we discussed before in past shows, that it just depends on a person's activity, on a person's lifestyle.
And that's a whole other thing too, because when you look at more urban areas or where there's not a lot of economic affluent people that live in that area, you don't have as many parks. You don't have as many recreation centers. Like even when I come over Coldwater, there's like this beautiful park and beautiful, like the landscaping is like incredible. I'm like, oh, they don't have this in the urban neighborhoods, but they definitely have it in Beverly Hills. So I think that's part of it, but also consumers, we are totally advertised to all the time that inexpensive fast food, it's easy, and we're just I think a generation of convenience. Our cell phones, like before we used to have pagers, pay phones, and it's completely different from the things that we have access to today.
Yeah, it's true. But going back to your campaign, I think this whole thing with anti-obesity, I feel like, and fast food being the cause, I think ultimately I don't see fast food going anywhere. People want to make a campaign, people want to protest, people want to have commercials and everything, but it's the consumers that are really enabling it because we go back purchasing it. Even if you want to say, okay, well, I'm going to be vegetarian this week and I'm going to eat good and not eat anything bad, and let's say now you're craving a soda. You're going to go to McDonald's and get a soda, and that money now goes back to them and their business. So ultimately, fast food won't go anywhere. So yeah, we can campaign as much as we want, but these are like billion-dollar businesses, and there's other things behind the FDA. They want to say this and that, but I feel like a lot of them like goes back to money. And if they're bringing in all this money, especially if you have all these fast food places in certain cities that are bringing in money too, they give to the city, and taxes to the city. So ultimately, it's like really. Is it really going to go anywhere? We can campaign as much as we want, but ultimately it's really just what we do in our own household. So if you want to be anti-obesity, do it for yourself and for your household. But as a whole, fast food really isn't going to go anywhere.
It's probably not going to go anywhere, but I think this campaign may put a dent in their profits. Because if you see now, like they're trying, like a lot of fast food restaurants are actually partnering with each other. So what does that mean? That means that their profits are not what they used to be. So I think Taco Bell and some other, like you start to see Dunkin' Donuts and some other businesses that are now partnering with each other, and that never happened before. Like and you find McDonald's and Walmart. You know what I'm saying? So I think it may not change anything, but I really think it's about educating, especially people in urban areas. Like, here are some other alternatives for you to not go to McDonald's, how to pre-prepare your food so that you're not eating at McDonald's. Like, it may cost 99 cents, but I think it's a even harder conversation because people don't see the end result. Because there was a documentary, I think it was called, I don't know if it was a documentary, but it was an article called From the Cradle to the Grave. And so basically they talk about how kids are raised to eat McDonald's from the time that they're born to the time that they die. And are they dying quicker? I don't know, but I'm so glad I didn't like ketchup on my hamburgers because I never ate McDonald's hamburgers. Thank God. Thank you, Mama.
All right, great. Well, that's an interesting campaign. I think, I feel like ultimately it's your choice. And like you said, you have to make the choice. And whether they work with other corporations and they lose profit or not, we have to really make that decision for ourselves and our home and our families if we're going to support those fast food places or really take better care of ourselves at home.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to our next topic. Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys and tell you if there was a way you can like take back aging and wash away your wrinkles and it's less than $10 a day and it can start at any age, would you guys do it?
Well, heck yeah.
Well, it depends because
I'm scared.
It's not that pill though. It's not that pill.
All right, so what if it had to do with drinking placenta juice?
Now the placenta of what?
Placenta.
Female?
Well, let's start with this. So in Japan, and I always go back to Japan because Japan, as you guys know, they have the most interesting, unique, weird types of way of, beauty regimens. Like in Asia community, they're obsessed with their
beautiful, their skin.
Yeah, their skin, lightening their skin, all kinds of things. So they have the most interesting, crazy little things that they do for themselves. And one of them that they do is drinking blended pig placenta juice.
Heck, no.
Yes.
You said pig. Now,
yes.
if you would have said another, I couldn't even know.
Yeah, they drink blended pig placenta juice. And see, I've heard a lot about placenta juice, and I know now the West is picking up placenta juice. I was watching Nick at Night Mom. It was like Nick at Night for moms, and this woman was with her baby. She just had a baby, and she was talking to other women about natural stuff, and they were taking placenta pills and eating placenta. And I thought to myself, like, oh, like, I don't think I can do that. But I know now in the West it's picking up, and a lot of this started from the Chinese and Japan, and the Chinese have been eating placenta for over 2,000 years. This was actually even done in ancient Egypt as well. So as far as pig placenta, the Japanese use pig placentas. Now there's different placentas you can use. There's deer placenta, which supposedly helps with increasing sexual desire. And then there's cow placenta, which helps with hair. And so the Chinese and the Japanese have used a lot of pig placenta. And so I know for us in America, we probably wouldn't eat pig placenta. I know I wouldn't.
I do.
But what do you guys think about that?
I would.
No, I would take the pills, but I wouldn't do drinking. See, stuff like this, I would have to not know what it is in order to drink it.
This can easily look like a strawberry juice,
I was gonna
right?
say that, yeah. But for me, I'll take the pills.
The pills?
Yeah, I would do the pills.
Because with me personally, I'm a very slow drinker.
The tablets.
So if I'm drinking something that looks like this and I know it's placenta juice, most likely I'll just be gagging. Like, I can't get it down.
Yeah.
But if it's a pill, it's like, okay, one time you swallow it's done. And then you don't have to taste it because it's in a little capsule, you know, so you don't have to. But some people cook it even as well. I think in the U.S., we don't really eat animal placenta that I know of. I know it's very common to eat your own placenta. And some people even eat, you know, other placentas. But in Japan, they actually blend the pig and they put it in a bottle, the placenta, and they put it in a bottle, and you actually can purchase it for about $8.50.
I can see why they would choose that organ, or not even an organ, but why they would choose placenta, because I think it would be high in vitamins and
that's why,
and things of that nature. So
I mean, I could see it, but I'm just not a fan of, unless it was a pig that I actually raised and I actually fed the pig, and then the pig happened to have babies, maybe, because pigs are like some of the nastiest animals in the world. So if you're eating the placenta, I just remember that scene. I can't remember the movie, but there was a scene on, I think it was on CSI, some crime scene, but it's like commonly known that pigs will eat anything. They will eat dead pigs. They will eat dead animals. They will just eat anything.
Well, that's why when people eat a lot, what are the first thing they call you? Stop eating like a pig, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So to eat the placenta of something that has eaten probably everything that's died, feces, everything, I don't know that I couldn't do it.
And it's actually pretty common for mammals. They usually, a lot of them actually do eat their own placenta after they give birth because of the nutritional benefits, you know, and there's antibodies and hormones that comes from the mother's blood.
From the blood.
You know, so there are nutritional reasons why some of the animals as well as humans do it. I feel like there hasn't been enough, I don't feel like there's enough scientific research
totally
on this to us to just be in the market where we can consume it. So I think it might be a matter of time before they make it like it is in Japan and make it in bottles for us to consume. But a lot of cosmetic companies actually do have placenta in a lot of their products in their cosmetic companies, but it's actually, some of it is FDA regulated in very small amounts, because from what I did research on, a lot of this in eating placenta can cause, they did a study with girls from the ages of 1 to 8 years old, and how when they have placenta, it actually had them develop breast and hormonal changes early on within 12 to 24 months of taking the placenta. And then when they got off of the placenta, it kind of reverted back. So it's like, you know, that's iffy for me. And just that in itself, I'm like, I don't know. I'll pass on the placenta and I'll just take my strawberry and watermelon smoothie, and I think I'll be good with that. Yeah. So, okay. So moving on, I wanted to talk to you guys about hair and about keeping our hair straighter longer. I know in the African American community, we like to straighten our hair, but we also want it to last as well, because
you should have shown another girl, because she looks like she has hair like you, like the mixed chipped hair. If you would have shown like Kunta Kinte on the left, and then that's what I want to know. Can you help the Kunta Kinte hair?
Well, I think with straightening our hair, whether it's curly hair or really kinky curly hair, the methods that we can use is for everybody to help your hair last longer.
Okay.
So I know for having your hair straightened is something that a lot of us do. I try not to do it often just because it is damaging to my hair, but sometimes I want to change and switch it up, and I like to have it straightened. So I'm just going to share with you guys some tips that I like to do, or some tips that I find that actually would help you guys keep your hair straighter longer. So the first tip here, I wrote down my tips so I remember. So the first tip is actually keeping your hair straighter longer actually starts before you straighten your hair. People think, okay, once I straighten my hair, then I'm gonna do some stuff to it, or I can do it a certain way to make it, but it actually starts before. One of the main things is actually making sure that you wash, clarify, and condition your hair before. Now this I've actually learned from experience the hard way. When I was young, like in junior high, I was very lazy when it came to straightening my hair. I would do it myself, and I would go maybe 3 or 4 days without washing my hair and then decide one day, oh, I'm going to straighten it. So I had buildup of products in my hair for about 3 to 4 days, and then I would straighten it on top of it. So for my hair to last, believe me, it did not last at all. I had hardly any movement, and it was just really weighed down from all the products. And when I got older and I was like, oh, maybe I should wash it first, then I would wash it and clarify it really good with the clarifying shampoo and condition it. And then it made such a difference. My hair was much more lightweight. It had more bounce and more movement. So you want to make sure that you actually take these steps before you straighten your hair. You want to deep condition your hair. You want to wash it really good. And it really starts before you actually straighten it. So once your hair is straight, the second thing that we want to do is your nighttime routine. You want to actually make sure that you wrap your hair really well. This also has made a big difference for me with being consistent with wrapping my hair. Do you wrap your hair at night when you straighten it?
No, I normally, you do?
You wrap yours?
I wrap mine.
I'll take some tips from you for that.
Yeah, don't take any tips from Cortez. I essentially either roll it like in the plastic pink rollers, and then I'll get up in the morning and put it in a ponytail, and that's pretty much. But when my hair is straight, the way I keep my hair straight is I'll just wear it in a bun.
And that helps you keep it straight.
Helps me. Yeah,
how long does your hair stay straight for?
It depends. Like if I'm not doing a seriously hard workout, it can last for a month.
Because I can imagine with working out, the humidity will make it frizzy, and it'll probably like
it's not even the
quicker.
Humidity. It's more the
sweating,
sweat. Yeah,
right?
the sweat and it getting back to its original state.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know for what I do, I actually used to wrap my hair maybe the first 2 or 3 days when you're like, oh, my hair is so nice and straight. I'm going to make sure it stays that way. Right. And then I'd get lazy and just wear it in a ponytail. And then I'd wake up and sometimes it's hot, you sweat, and then it would get so frizzy.
Yeah.
So
it's
frizzy.
Amazing how all the chemicals that women put in their hair, but your sweat can
make it all. Take it all away.
Just take it all away.
Exactly.
But I think when you say chemicals, and when you're talking about African American women and chemically straightened hair, your hair does last longer. But when you don't have any chemicals, I don't have any chemicals in my hair.
Yeah, this is just a flat iron straightening hair, so not a perm, because the perm is an actual chemical relaxer to make it straight for months. I'm talking about just flat ironing your hair, which could last from, depending on how you take care of it, a week to some people a whole month. But that's just flat ironing your hair. So I think taking care of it at night, wrapping it up or a bun or however you feel that helps your hair, and making sure that you apply something to your hair. Oh, and also a satin bonnet as well. That makes a big difference. And I actually recommend that you actually not only have a satin bonnet but a satin pillowcase, because I know sometimes when I wrap my hair it comes off. So if you have a satin pillowcase, it'll at least help take away some of the extra frizz that comes on.
And I actually wear both. I actually wear like a satin scarf, and I'll tie it around the bun so that the front part, if I do sweat, it'll still be straight.
Oh, okay.
And then I put the bonnet on it, and then I'll get a satin pillowcase too.
Yeah, and wrapping my hair, that's something that I actually had to learn and try to figure out a way that works best for me, because wrapping doesn't work good for, figuring out a way that works for you, I think it's different for everyone, because my hair is really long when it straightens. Yeah. It's really hard for it to stay.
You would probably really
I'd have to do like this. So while I'm trying to go up, part of it's coming down, and then I'm trying to make it go around, and it's just,
it's
but I found a way that it works for me, and doing that consistently actually did help my hair stay flatter longer, so therefore it did stay straight and longer. So the next tip that I have for helping your hair maintain its pressed is using a light serum or a light oil that's not going to weigh your hair down on the ends of your hair. I feel like when your hair is straightened, the first thing that tends to show that it's being worn out is the ends of your hair. It starts getting frizzy, it starts breaking off, and having that just distorted kind of look. So if you apply a light serum, it's going to seal in the moisture in your hair and just make it add some shine to your hair, and it's actually going to really help too to make it look like it's fresher longer. So my next tip, this has helped me, and this one I've been doing every time I've straightened my hair since I was young, is actually adding some curls and waves to your hair. When your hair starts to get kind of worn out after maybe the first or second week, what I usually do is I'll add some curls in my hair, either using a curling wand, or I'll use some flexi rolls or some rollers. And what that does is, after your hair's been straight for a while, you kind of lose the bounce and the movement, and it has that stiffness to it because of the oils. So what I do is I'll add some curls to it, and what that does, it helps bring back that movement and that bounce, because now you have that kind of curl and it adds that back to it. And I do that when my hair starts to kind of get more worn out. And then another thing I do as well is I comb my hair every single day. And this is great because for our hair type, usually for our curly hair, we don't have a lot of oil that distributes through our hair because our hair is really dry. So when our hair is straight, now it can evenly distribute. So what it's good to do is comb your hair every day or brush it every day. So that way you're getting the oils, making sure it's coming out down through your hair to add that moisture. Because if you don't, your hair actually will still feel dry and it'll just be oily on top. And that's happened to me a lot where my hair is just oily on top and it still kind of that just normal drier feeling on bottom. So what I started doing was combing and brushing my hair all the way down to distribute the oils all the way down to give it that extra moisture. So those are my tips, you guys, on how to keep your hair pressed longer. If you guys have any tips that you use to help your hair that stays straight longer, make sure you leave it below and let us know what you guys do as well.
I also, Erica, I add castor oil to the ends of my hair instead of like a sealer, but the castor oil seems to work really well too.
You don't find that to be a little heavy for the ends of your hair?
No, like for the ends of my hair, it's actually been really good because it actually, I think for some reason it's a thicker kind of oil.
It is thick,
and it doesn't have like chemicals, whatever those sealers have in it. So I'm all about the a la natural.
Yeah.
And castor oil is very natural, the Jamaican black.
What I use sometimes, because I've gotten off of using, when I was younger, I used to use argan oil, but it was a kind I bought at Sally's, so it's not pure.
Yes,
so what I started doing is using grapeseed oil because grapeseed is very, it's very lightweight.
Yeah.
It doesn't clog your pores on your skin, so you can use it for your skin also, and I kind of help it in my ends of my hair. So yeah, castor oil, coconut, olive oil, and if you do use a heavier oil, just use a little bit of it and just add it to the ends of your hair.
I feel like I'm in a beauty salon with my girlfriend. Just sitting here like, oh.
It's okay, Cortez.
All right, Cortez, that's fine because now we're coming to you. Now it's all you.
Once you out of a beauty salon and you wrap that hair up and you want to go get your buns tight, yeah,
Both
let's
ways.
talk about that. Yeah, both ways, exactly.
I got that.
Well, I always get the question of, am I working out too much and should I feel sore after I work out and those kind of things? Of course you do. Of course, what is it? Of course you should. What is it? No pain, no gain, right? But the thing is, people say that exercising is good, right? So that means if I do more of it, then that's even better, right? Wrong. That's totally wrong. Exercising has great health benefits, which is lowering blood pressure, increasing muscle mass, and also I wrote one down. Oh, higher bone density, which we never really think that. Oh, my bones needs to be strong as well.
Especially for women too, because we're more prone for osteoporosis.
Exactly. So, like, to me, too much exercising can be a problem sometimes because it can also cause weakness. So sometimes when you're a person that, you don't get sick as often, and then, the person that also works out a lot is lowering the strength of your immune system. So your immune system is like, it's kind of like your car. You can't put too much on it and you can't put the wrong thing in it. So the first thing is nutrition. You want to make sure you're eating the right things. I put some things down that I was talking about how you would know that you're overexerting and exercising. It will be injuries, excessive soreness, exercise plateau. You know what that is?
You said exercise plateau?
When you plateau, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
plateau. What was that?
I was
thing?
like,
Plateau.
you're hungry?
Plateau.
Sounds like a French dish. When I eat a
Exactly.
plateau.
Exactly. So my thing is, I remember when I first started working out, how I was building muscle, but then it got to a point where I wasn't getting any stronger. Or I felt like, I'm so dull in the gym. The thing is, people tend to forget that your muscle is a muscle cell brain. It has its own cell membrane.
True.
And if you're doing something repeatedly, I don't know what's going on with my speech today. If you're doing something like over and over again when you're exercising, your body will get used to that and will stop growing. So if I'm lifting heavy, and let's say my body gets used to that, and then all of a sudden my muscles, I don't feel like I'm getting any stronger, then that's because I'm getting to a point where I'm overexerting my exercising. Sometimes you'll feel tired and you have to force yourself to get to the gym, or you have like joint pains, like right in your joints, your shoulders, your knees, things of that nature. Which goes back to a show that we talked about before about stretching. Stretching, how important and stretching is, and using the foam rollers and things of that nature. So yes, you can exert yourself in the gym with exercising, but would it build muscle? No. Just like they tell you with any drugs or anything of that nature, take it in moderations. Never take any drugs or whatever without following directions, right? So if I'm going to use a supplement, most people use supplements. I don't. I do everything all natural. Do you do everything all natural?
A little bit. When I take supplements, I take supplements that are naturally produced in your body. like L-carnitine.
Okay, so that's a good way to put it.
Amino acids. You know, your body naturally has
Amino
that.
acids, right?
Yeah, amino acids.
That's a good way to look at
Yeah,
it for looking for supplements. I never thought of it like that, what your
Yeah.
body naturally produces. That's a good
Yeah,
tip.
and I try to find brands that I know, like from the Whole Food store, or brands that I've researched. Because I'm still not a fan of like shakes, because I'm like, what are they putting in shakes? And because it's not really regulated by the FDA, I'm like, not so much.
And a lot of it's full of sugar too.
A lot of it's full of sugar, and then if I can't understand the back of the ingredients, I'm definitely not going to. Like if it's something I can't pronounce,
Right.
with the xylocalciferol,
you said that before. We spoke
yeah,
about
it's
that
just
before.
not something that I really do. Yeah, but you know what, Cortez, in reference to what you're talking about, overexertion, I think there are certain muscle groups, and it kind of changes depending on the certification, depending on the personal trainer. Because I know a friend of mine, he's been a trainer for a long time, but he works his calves, his glutes, and his abs every single day. And he looks incredible. And he's
Well, it's
probably
those
are smaller muscle
yeah.
groups. So I'm saying in reference to overexerting, most people think I need to call.
Well, most people actually, I was going to say because I think I was going to go speak on that as well.
Okay.
It just depends on what kind of, I guess you can say, bodybuilder that you are. Some people, like in my case, I want to gain muscle mass. So these things that I'm talking about are more so because I like to speak from experience. I don't like to speak from any and everyone else's experience. I like to speak from my own experience. So with building muscles, I mean, there's some people who are massive bodybuilders would disagree with what I'm saying, or either they would.
And I think it depends on your goals too. So when it comes to overexertion, if you're a bodybuilder, you're training different muscle groups probably five days a week. But if you're somebody that's trying to lose weight, then
so this is what I'm talking about. Who I'm talking to are mostly people, everyday people who are not trying to be a bodybuilder or
fitness
become
competitor.
Mr. and Miss Olympia or anything like that. So as far as building muscles, like my normal routine in the gym, it would be to start off doing less weight and more reps. So if I'm doing like 120, that's less weight for me. So I'm doing about 12 reps.
So you're trying to build muscle.
Exactly. That's just a warm up for me, just to wake my muscles up. You know, just to let them know, hey, you're getting ready to work. You know, and then you want to do less reps and more weight to help, you know, and it's kind of like tricking your muscles. It's a cell membrane, so you have to let, you know, that cell and that muscle know that, okay, I'm getting ready to work you. That sounds kind of crazy, but yeah. So you can build muscle that way. But what's most important is muscle recovery. A lot of people that go to the gym a lot because they got tired of being skinny, or they're too fat or whatever, they run to the gym and stay in the gym. That's not always a good thing. Muscle recovery is very important. What that involves would be sleeping well, eating right, stretching, and getting massages.
I do that all the time.
I actually didn't think that would be great for me until I started doing it. So, like I said, like with muscle recovery, it just depends on how and what you're trying to do in the gym. Like if you're a bodybuilder, like we said before, like of course you definitely need massaging and stretching and pulling your muscle.
I wanted to ask you, back to working out every day. What if someone works out every day, but you know how they say don't work the same muscle? So let's say you do arms and cardio that day, and then you go to the gym the next day, but you work on your legs. So you're switching it up. So it's not really the same muscle every day, but you are working out every day, but you switch your muscle groups.
And you could also do cardio versus weight. So if you worked out every day, then that's not bad. And I think overexertion is a hard, broad term
because you have to know your body.
Yeah,
you have to. Everyone is different. Like for me, I know my overexerting would be if I like my back, or either like I'm just feeling like really, really drained because I don't take any supplements. So in that case, I know my body. So some people may feel as if, you know, if they go to the gym and then maybe let's say the next day, like the muscle that they worked out is really, really hurting bad. That just kind of depends on how much effort you put into that muscle that day. If it's not hurting, then you're not doing anything.
I think it is important to definitely make sure you know your body, and sometimes you have to do trial and error and see what it is that you can do to feel that way. Because I know when I used to run track in high school, I had issues with my hamstring. For some reason, I never pulled a muscle, but I think I came close to it. So I've always had those issues. So when I go to the gym and I do those, leg extensions, or leg curls, when I do the ones that go up, or the ones that work your hamstrings, I feel it very very easily, and I have to definitely make sure that I don't do as much, and I can feel it instantly. And when I feel it really starting to hurt, I have to say, okay, let me back off and let me do something else, you know? So you really do have to know your body. I think that's a really good point to make, is knowing your body when you work out.
Know your body, people. Please know your body. And the thing is, when we say know your body, it's more so learn your body. So experiment. Go into the gym and do some things, do some research, look at it like Madison said before on our last episode was, pick someone who you think, you know, that you would like to look up to and make that your goal. And once you do that, then obviously you'll be on the same track and you'll start to experiment, you do research, and you'll learn your body. And that's the same way I did. Because like I said before, I did not do the research that I know now. And if I would have done it, then I would be further along than what I am right now.
Well, that's the thing too, like if you are a member of a gym, or if you have a gym membership, go to like a professional trainer at the gym, and they always offer free sessions whenever you join a gym. You know, they want to give you an incentive to choose a personal trainer, but I say try to learn as much as you can on one, how to use the machines. And I used to get that all the time when I worked at a couple of different gyms, and you know, people would always want to know, oh, okay, can you show me how to use this machine? And that was actually part of our job, is to show people how to use the machine. So even if they didn't get personal training from us, then they would still know how to use the equipment safely. Okay, great.
And as I was going to say, if as for muscle recovery, if you're a person that has a busy schedule and you can't get enough rest, resting and getting the proper rest is very, very imperative when building muscle. If you're a person that has a busy schedule and you're not sleeping your full hours, you know, overdo it in another area. You know, maybe do 2 to 3 massages more often or something like that, you know. Make sure your nutrition is well on point. You know what I'm saying? You want to make up somewhere else where you're losing and you're sleeping. So.
It's good to know. All right, so speaking of some things that we can do now, what are some things that we could do 20 years ago versus now? Madison, want to tell us?
You know what? So I'm really curious. One of the things that I like to watch is like fitness trends and see where they're going and what's happening. And so when I looked at some of my favorite videos, like watching my mom work out with like Jane Fonda's workouts, Richard Simmons. So if you think about kind of those kinds of workouts, they were pretty much the same. The only thing that changed was the personality. There was a lady named Susan Powder back in the day. Do you remember her? Probably not. But Susan Powder was kind of like she was a really tall woman, maybe like 5'10", and for television, that's pretty tall.
When was she known? Like in the 90s?
This was like 80s, 90s. Yeah. Okay. Probably more like 80s, because I can't remember.
And she was a fitness kind of...
She was like a fitness professional, but she also... I'm just saying, like, pretty much most of the exercise videos were very basic. They were the, you know, the stretching. Yeah. The grapevine, you know. So if you think about those trends. So I was curious about where is fitness going. And it's funny because I've always trained this way, the way that we're training now. Because before, I remember when I first got certified, people were saying, oh, you can only work one muscle group at a time. So now to know there are things like, we could put this picture up. It's called a high intensity interval training. HIIT. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so basically you do bursts. And I remember when I was working at Equinox, they had something called Tabata, which was very similar. And so basically you do 20 seconds of like really high intensity training, and then you pause and you kind of take a break. You're not sitting down, but you're actually lowering your heart rate for 10 seconds. And you keep repeating that. So this is one of like the new trends. And you can see, of course, like I think group training is more popular.
I've heard a lot about HIIT. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was HIIT, but I have heard a lot about it. And I've heard that going those intensity trainings where you're kind of going intense and then you're going back down, it's kind of like tricking your body. So it's keeping it up. And that actually helps with plateauing as well. So I have heard a lot about that. That's good. Platé. That's right, platé. Out of some platé on the side.
But it's also more efficient too, because if you're doing something faster and the intervals are changing more rapidly, it's a more efficient workout, I think. And and most people today, like we always say, oh, I don't have enough time. So when you're doing something, there are workouts that are 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and an hour. So if you're the person that says, I don't have time, you at least have 30 minutes. And so I know with the Tabata, which is very similar to this, it's very efficient, and supposedly it burns more fat because you're getting your heart rate up higher than you. Yeah, and it's pumping blood more. So,
what's an example of a HIIT workout?
You know what? That is CrossFit. You can see CrossFit is kind of very similar to high intensity training, interval training, because you're doing
Can you do this in the gym?
You could do this in the gym. You could do it. You could make up your own programs, but there are a lot of HIIT exercise programs popping up all over the country. But I think the great thing about HIIT is that you could probably find them everywhere. You could find them at the park. You could find them at the Y. You could find them at most gyms are incorporating this kind of a group training into their programs, just because I think it probably will give people better results quicker.
Okay, so if you were at the gym, tell our viewers, if you were at the gym, what is something that you can do at the gym that's an example of a HIIT training? Like, is it maybe doing a high, like
high knees,
or maybe is it like when you're on
burpees
the treadmill
would
or a
be
lot?
considered,
okay.
And probably a sprint on like an incline.
What about stairs? Can you do like a high, like stairs for going fast or no?
I wouldn't recommend it just unless you're like super coordinated and you're a professional athlete or you've been an athlete. I wouldn't recommend doing stairs for a high intensity training workout. Definitely not.
Suicides are good too because you're going from back and forth, so you're really sprinting and going back and forth.
Okay, so it's more kind of like really fast movements.
It's like burst, like a burst, like a sprint, a couple of sprints, like doing sprints back to back would be
shocking.
Yeah,
shocking
like it would shock your body and get your heart rate above its target heart rate level.
All right, great. So what are some of the hottest fitness trends?
That's one of them.
Okay.
That's one of them. And then I think the next one is body weight training, which is so funny because this is one of my favorite things to do.
Jacqueline does this a lot, right?
Yeah, she does this a lot, but this is kind of how I've always trained my clients because I think a lot of times we like to have excuses. Oh, I don't have a gym. Oh, I don't have time. But you have your body everywhere you go. So you could always do things like push-ups. You could always do squats, lunges. So these are like, and I think when you're looking at any fitness trend or any fitness program, you're going to always see push-ups. You're going to always see. Now, in P90X, they do different kinds of push-ups, and the variations and the speed and the range of motion are all different. But as far as a push-up and basic body weight training, it's going to be in most programs. And it's inexpensive. You don't have to have any equipment except for yourself and good running shoes or good shoes to actually train in.
And I was going to say, back to as far as when you're building muscles as well, women and male, this type of training is actually good for homework. I like to call it homework. So even though you're not lifting weights during the gym, during your resting period, doesn't mean you just sit on the couch and become a couch potato or, whatever the case may be. Use these type of exercises to, keep your body, intact for the next workout, because this is lighter than lifting weights. So because you're lifting your own body weight. So this is actually helping you to get back into the gym and lift heavier weights, actually.
But then sometimes if you're doing push-ups the right way, then it's not as easy as people think. I think it could help you get, when you're training, like weight training, it'll help you get your form better.
Right.
But not everybody knows how to do push-ups correctly. Not everybody knows how to do pull-ups. Pull-ups, I think, are one of the hardest things because you're using your whole entire body weight. There's no cheating if you're doing an unassisted pull-up. So even though these are like basic exercises, I think because I used to have a client and I think he was doing P90X and he was like he was older. He was a senior. He was like 65. And P90X and Insanity, he was doing them all. And I would come over there and make sure that his alignment was correct. And I would break him down with all of these basic exercises, push-ups. I think we may have worked with dumbbells, and that was it. He'd be sweating profusely just because he was doing off of body weight training. So I'm a fan of this all day long. So I was like, this is interesting. I love that
because you're right. A lot of people can't afford the gym, and some people just don't want to go because they just are lazy and they don't want to. So I think some things you could just do at home in the convenience of your home. Some people don't have a car and they can't drive to the gym. So I think you do have the option.
Walk.
You could, you could walk. True. But
walk
some people, don't want to go. They don't want to spend the money to the gym. Some people just want to stay at home. Maybe they have kids they need to take care of, and they can't have a luxury of just going to the gym whenever they want.
And they can't afford it.
Yeah, and and childcare care at the gym, you have to pay extra for that. I think for mine, it's like $3 a day if you don't get a whole child membership. So, you know, for some people, having their own body to use at home, like you do have an option. So I think you really don't have no excuse when it comes to really getting in shape. If you want it, you could do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
80% nutrition, 20%. Well, I think that percentage has
varies,
changed a little. It varies, but
on your
it's
body
always
type.
going to be right. It's always going to be nutrition that's higher than body exercising. So,
Absolutely.
So stay away from
totally.
McDonald's.
And so I think the next one is functional training. Functional training, which I think is great, and this is also how I like to train. Functional training meaning that you're doing stuff that you would do in everyday life, like if you were putting the groceries or putting them on a shelf. Like I like to do very similar movements in life that you would do in the gym, or just using basic equipment like a dumbbell or a medicine ball. So I think these kinds of programs, functional fitness, even though they have an elderly lady pictured here and she's getting something, but I think the older you get, if you don't do functional fitness, you'll injure yourself coming up on a step or walking down on a step, just because you're not trained to do functional things that you do in life in like a workout setting, in a very controlled setting. So sometimes I think it's great to have functional fitness programs regardless of your age. So
if you're moving, or like she said, pick up a bag of groceries, squat. Do a squat to lift it up. So,
but that's a good point too. Like I think a lot of people injure themselves doing stuff like moving, because I have a friend, like if you don't really know how to use your legs and you end up using your lower back, then you could really injure yourself. So functional fitness is going to be more important, especially because we lead such sedentary lives. You know, we're all sitting down, we're texting, we're driving, especially in LA, we're always in our cars. So to not do functional fitness is really a disservice to your body, because your muscles can atrophy if you're not doing anything in fitness or just in everyday life to keep yourself in shape. And I think the last one is educated, certified, experienced personal trainers. And I've kind of talked about this, and I thought this was interesting because they talked about the numbers. They said the fitness trainer industry is expected to grow 24% by 2020. And it's already $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
So I think,
especially in LA.
Especially in LA, I feel like it's so oversaturated with everybody being personal trainers, but really having educated, certified, experienced trainers. So I think that's one thing. If you're looking for a trainer, make sure you know what to look for and what to ask for. And of course, going to like a gym setting and finding trainers there is probably your best option.
Everyone is not a trainer.
Everybody is not a trainer. Just because you get certified in a certain thing doesn't mean that you're a great trainer. And one of the things that they talked about too was, you know, a lot of ex-professional athletes are now becoming trainers. Now, just because you've had a great career as an NFL player or NBA player, that doesn't mean you've had somebody teach you and they've worked out with you. You've had a strength and conditioning coach that's very educated on what to do in the gym. That doesn't mean you know what to do.
Right.
And range of motion is really important. So there's so many things, but you really want to make sure. I think ACE is one of the most popular and inexpensive. So if you're a trainer out there and you want to get certified, I think ACE is the most inexpensive.
And quickest.
And the quickest. NASM, I think, is another one. But I think it's so interesting, too, because certifications are so expensive. But then when you look at the rate of pay that most trainers make in the gyms, it's exorbitant. I mean, to me, it's way too much money. I think there actually is one called ACT, and it's now nationally recognized. And she used to actually work at Equinox, not with me, but at another one. And it's actually a free certification, and it is recognized, but it's ACT. So that's an inexpensive one. It doesn't cost anything. I think there are some options if you wanted to get a book, but I think that's a really good alternative if you want to get certified and not pay any money.
But I think that's a good point, is definitely making sure that you work out with people who are professional and certified, because I know my brother is trying to do that as well. And I think with being a personal trainer, you have to really know your muscle groups. It goes deeper than the surface and how your muscle looks. It really goes skin deep, literally. You know, you have to know the muscle groups, how it works with each other, and
how your heart functions. Because there are tons of people making sure that you're certified in CPR. And if you're working with kids, making sure that you have a child CPR certification versus just a regular CPR certification, because your heart is the most important thing. I've been in one situation where I've seen someone pass out in the gym, and it was because their blood pressure got too high. So
And go about the questions that if you go and you meet a trainer and they don't ask you any questions, to me, that's kind of like a red flag, because they would ask those things like, what do you have any medical history problems? Do you taking any medicine? Are you having heart problems? Are you having joint problems? Whatever the case may be, they should ask questions.
Yeah, they should.
As a trainer.
Yeah.
That definitely does tell you the difference between someone who's professional and an amateur, because I know if someone's working me out in the gym, I would want them to know me and know my body,
and
because that's the
body.
whole point of it.
And know your history too. Like I think that's a big thing. Like you can't create a program for someone and I don't know. Like you said, you were an ex-athlete and you used to work out and you ran track. Did you run track?
I ran track.
Yeah. So that workout is completely different from somebody that's coming to me and they have no kind of activity history, like, you know, any kind of sports, and they're just.
Or if you did used to be active, like I did, but used to have, maybe you had a muscle injury, that definitely affects
and maybe
it.
you had a child, so
so all that, you know, things change, so you
Yeah.
need to know. So make sure if they don't ask, you tell them.
Yes.
All right. So
and if they don't ask,
if they
go
ask-
to somewhere else.
Or I'll go with someone else. Okay. See, the fitness people know. That's why they're experts and I'm not. You don't want to train from me. I'll give you beauty tips, but the fitness tips, literally give to
And she know her
Cortez
cut. Girl,
and
you need to grow
Madison.
your hair.
I'll help you grow your hair. I'll tell you how to put on lipstick, but if you want to know how to get in shape, you go to them.
I think there's one more thing that I was going to talk about, which was how to create your own program.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that with your own budget. So
With
how
your
do
own
you?
budget.
So how do we people who don't have a lot of money to spend on getting in shape and fitness and going to vegan restaurants? So what can we do on our own budget to help us stay in shape?
And that's so funny because somebody just said to me, they were like, Madison, just because you're a vegetarian doesn't mean that you're doing it right. And I was like, you are absolutely right. Because I've met a couple of people, they're, oh yeah, I'm a vegetarian. And I'm like, okay, so why are you 16 pounds overweight? Is that my dance?
And that's very true, because some vegetarians, people usually
Eat
wonder
pasta.
if they're fat and they're
Yeah.
vegetarian. People think, well, how are you
What
fat
are you
and
doing?
vegetarian? Like, well,
Yeah.
that's not right.
What's
So
going
yeah,
on?
explain to us.
Yeah, so I think you really have to understand like what your ultimate goal is. That's the first thing. You got to know what your goal is. Is it realistic? That's the second thing. Like some people have really unrealistic expectations. Like, and I think you have to really be aware of being advertised
Your
to.
body type.
Yeah, and your body type too, but what you're being advertised to, because there's so many different products coming out. There's so many quick fixes, pills, shakes, sprinkles, shoes. Like it's always going to be something new. So you really have to figure out, okay, one, can I afford to get a trainer? And if I can't, then let me create my own program and setting realistic goals. So a realistic goal is 2 pounds a week if you're trying to lose weight. And I know lots of people promise 30 pounds in 30 days, 20 pounds in 30 days, or whatever the hot weight loss burn.
Fad.
Yeah, the fad. So I think you really have to get away from wanting to have a fad or quick result, because nothing in life is free. Nothing in life is easy, especially really changing your body. That really starts with changing your mind first. Because if you don't change your mind about your relationship with food and how you deal with emotional stress and how you deal with stress and what are your stressors,
It's
it
a
doesn't
mindset.
matter.
It's
Yeah, it's a
definitely
mindset. And it's more, even more so than the mindset, it's figuring out, is your goal realistic? Writing it down, having people hold you accountable for those goals, that's the next thing. And then really creating a plan that actually works, that includes like the exercises that we talked about, like the basics, the body weight training, the functional training. And there's very inexpensive equipment that you could buy. Like I'm a total fan of the bands.
Resistance band.
Yeah, like resistance bands. You could get those anywhere. You could use them anywhere. You could get a chair at home and do some dips, some push-ups, some step-ups on the chair, you know, to really work your hamstrings. So there's so many different things. So going back to the ABC 1-2-3 system, which is basically not following fad diets too. Like I have so many people that are trainers. They're like, okay, so you're going to do a detox and a cleanse. And cleansing and juicing and all that stuff is so popular right now. But that doesn't mean you may lose some water weight, and you may also lose some muscle too. Because when you're juicing for an overextended period of time, more than 7 days,
You lose a lot of nutrition.
you'll lose a lot of nutrition. You're going to lose a lot of muscle.
That your muscles eat off of.
Yeah, because your body starts to feed off of what it's got left, which is basically your muscle. So you really want to make sure that your goals are realistic and write them down. Find somebody to hold you accountable, and then figure out a plan and then execute it. And your plan could be the resistance bands. It could be a medicine ball. It could be And YouTube is full of videos and ways to really, but I say go if you don't have a gym membership, or if you do have a gym membership, get a personal trainer and ask them to show you just the basics. Ask them how to show you how to do a squat correctly, a lunge correctly, a push-up correctly, a pull-up correctly. Crunches, yeah, because even crunches, like lots of people, if you have your chin on your chest, you're doing a neck exercise. That's not a crunch. So, yeah, those would be like my 5 goals to say, you know, set your goal, make sure it's realistic, write it down, find somebody to hold you accountable. And once you get that accountability partner, set a schedule and then start doing it, and get your equipment, of course. So those would be like my 5 little quick tips to really do your own program at home.
That's good to know, because I know with me sometimes I don't have a lot of time, and I think people think, oh, I don't have an hour to go to the gym. I don't have 30 minutes. So I think people need to realize you can take 5 minutes. You can take 10 minutes, like anything. And you know what I do sometimes at night? Sometimes I get lazy and I don't go to the gym. So what I do sometimes, before I go to bed, I'll just do 25 lunges, you know, and I'll just do that. And I just lunges, but I get a little something in, and I'm working out my glutes and my not my hamstrings, but what is the front called?
Your quads.
You know, the quads. To me, they're my fronts, but
you
the quads.
could work your hamstrings.
You can take 5-10 minutes. Like, you don't need a whole hour. If you don't have time for the gym, I think that's a good thing to know. You don't have to take an hour or 30 minutes. You can do a little something. Something's always better than nothing.
Absolutely.
Erica, when you're at home and you don't get the chance to go to the gym, what are you doing? Are you watching television before bed?
Before, you know what, I don't really watch TV. I naturally just don't watch TV. A lot of other stuff that I do, I don't spend much time watching TV. But if I don't have time to work out, the main things I love doing are legs and abs. So I will do crunches. I'm a huge fan of crunches. So I love doing the bicycle crunches. I'll do the ones where my legs are up and I'll just go like that, or I'll do regular crunches. I try, but when I was younger, I used to be able to do like 100 and whatever. But now I'll try to at least go to 25 to 50. And then lunges. I'll do lunges and I'll do squats. Lunges and squats. So to me, that's my main thing. So I might not do cardio or something like that, but if I don't have time and I'm at home, at least I'll try to get some crunches and lunges and squats in.
Great.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, people, is if you are watching television, you don't get to the gym. Like I said before, we said this a long time ago. During the breaks, during commercials, do those 25 or 50. What you can, set a number and do it within those commercials. Put it like that, because I actually stopped saying that exactly 50. Do 50 lunges or 50 squats. I stopped saying that because everyone is different. Everyone is do it at your own pace.
Yeah.
So pick a number that you know that is right at the max, but still you can still do it and push yourself to do it. So if that's 20, then great, because those last few reps is really what's working the muscle. Yeah. Not those first 5 to 8. Right. It's those really last little few, the ones that are actually burning and hurting, which are really utilizing the muscle. So during your commercial breaks or anything like that, you run to the restroom and come back, do your 25, 50, whatever the exercise may be. So, but in your case, and I was going to say that I don't know what you're doing, so you're probably reading and doing research and stuff like that. So you literally have to take that time to say, okay, let me just step away from this.
It's like a couple minutes to do that. All right, guys, so hope you guys learned a lot on our show, from drinking placenta juice if you want to look young, and for working out and making sure that you can do things at home for your budget, and knowing your body and working in muscle groups and knowing that you're working with trainers who are professionals. So I hope you guys learned a lot. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. And I'm your host. And I'm going to tell you guys where you can find me. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Erica Bell 89. And where can we find you guys?
Oh, that was so fast.
I know.
We're running out of time.
I know, right, guys? You can find me on all social media at Cortez G West. You can also follow us on BHL Online on Instagram. Please hit us up, guys. We want to know what you want to talk about and things that you may do at home that we don't even know about. So let us know so we can tell the whole world. All right?
Yes, and I was going to say, too, if you're just starting, like a good range of like sets is like 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
And then 10 to 15 if you have some kind of fitness level, and then 15 to 20. 25. So I'm Madison Chase. You can find me at MadisonChaseFitness.com. That's my actual website. On Twitter, I am Madison Chase Fit. And Instagram, YouTube, I said that, Pinterest, and Twitter, I'm Madison Chase Fitness.
And be sure to check out our other shows out on Black Hollywood Live.
Yes.
We really, really, really love the support, guys.
Subscribe and comment, and we'll see you guys next time.
From producer Producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood redefined.
Be healthy, be inspired.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.